Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with that heavy feeling in your stomach? It's not just indigestion or a bad dream, it's the silent, unspoken fear. The fear of getting older and losing control. The fear of becoming a burden to the children you work so hard to raise. We all share that worry. It's the worry about physical dependence, needing help just to get out of a chair. It's the worry about financial dependence, having to ask your busy daughter for money to fix the leaky faucet. And it's the worst worry of all, emotional dependence, the quiet, lonely feeling of isolation, the need for constant companionship because you've lost your purpose. This fear is real. But I want to tell you something true and crucial today. You do not have to become a burden. The biggest difference between joyful independence and dependent aging isn't money or luck. It's three simple, non-negotiable habits that build emotional and physical resilience. They are small actions with monumental consequences. Stay with me. By the end of this video, we are going to conquer that fear together. We will focus on reclaiming your value, your strength, and your peace. Let's start with the heaviest weight of all, the emotional burden. Habit 1, purposeful connection. The truth is, retirement often steals two things at once, your paycheck and your purpose. The paycheck is replaceable, but the loss of purpose, that is the emotional weight that leads to isolation. When you lose that routine of contribution, you start feeling invisible. You start feeling like you don't matter as much. And that feeling, that emotional burden, is the first thing that spreads to your family. Studies show that social isolation doesn't just make you sad, it actively harms your physical health. Research by the National Institute on Aging suggests that social isolation may increase the risk of premature death from all causes, a risk that rivals smoking, obesity, and physical inactivity. It's a serious medical issue, not just a feeling. The key here isn't just socializing, it's about purposeful connection. It's about finding a way to give back and be needed again. Think about the difference between joining a passive card game club and becoming a mentor. One is merely passing time. The other confirms your lasting value. This is the power of habit number 1, purposeful connection. It involves finding a community where your experience is the currency. One of the best ways to do this is through volunteering or mentoring. You spent 40 years mastering a skill, whether it was balancing a checkbook, fixing a car, or raising children. That knowledge is precious. When you volunteer at a local library, a food bank, or even mentor a young entrepreneur online, you are not taking, you are giving. And when you give, your self-worth is immediately and profoundly restored. Let me tell you about a gentleman named George in Vermont. George retired from an accounting firm at 68. He felt like his days were just fading, one into the next. He didn't need money, but he desperately missed being essential. He started volunteering one afternoon a week at a local community college. He spent 3 hours helping students file their financial aid paperwork. 3 hours. That tiny commitment fundamentally changed his life. He suddenly had a reason to wear a nice shirt, a reason to sharpen his mind, and most importantly, a reason to feel needed. His son told us that George stopped calling him out of boredom. Instead, George called to share stories about the students he helped. He transitioned from a passive receiver of attention to an active contributor to the world. That is the pathway to independence. The emotional independence of knowing your presence still matters. Purposeful connection kills two fears at once, the fear of loneliness and the fear of losing your value. It confirms your legacy. It confirms that you are not just an expense, you are an asset. And that peace of mind is priceless. It is the first step to becoming emotionally resilient, reducing that silent, crushing burden on your children. We're not talking about starting a second career. We are talking about finding your calling again. It could be as simple as knitting blankets for the local shelter, or spending an hour a week calling other isolated seniors. The act of giving, that is the core strength we need to harness. It reminds you that the wisdom you carry is still required. It's the simplest, most profound shift you can make in retirement. And it's completely free. Habit 2, micro-movement routines. Now let's address the second fear, the physical one. The fear of a slip, the fear of a fall, the fear of breaking a hip and waking up dependent on someone else for everything. Losing physical independence is arguably the most terrifying burden. It's the loss of the ability to choose. to choose to walk to the mailbox, to choose to drive yourself to the grocery store. The decline often starts slowly with muscle loss or sarcopenia, making simple tasks feel monumental. But you have the power to stop this. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need fancy equipment. You need habit number 2, micro movement routines. This isn't high-impact exercise. It is simple, purposeful movement that focuses on balance and functional strength. Functional strength is the ability to do daily life tasks, the strength to lift a bag of groceries, or to get up off the floor after a minor fall. Research published in numerous health journals consistently highlights that low-impact activities are the most effective way to maintain balance and prevent the costly, devastating results of a fall. Think of this as your personal fall prevention program. We want to build resilience, not bulk. Here are 3 micro movements you can build into your day without even realizing you're exercising. Micro movement. Radiates, the kitchen counter squat. Every time you stand at your kitchen counter waiting for water to boil or your coffee to brew, don't lean. Place your hands lightly on the counter just for safety. Slowly lower your hips as if you are going to sit in an imaginary chair. Hold it for 3 seconds, then slowly rise. Do this just 10 times, twice a day. That simple, mindful movement strengthens your glutes and quads. These are the exact muscles that catch you when you lose balance. It is an anchor against the fear of a fall. Micro movement 2, mindful gardening. Gardening is therapeutic, but it's also a phenomenal workout. The movements of digging, weeding, and bending are perfect for maintaining flexibility. But here's the trick. Incorporate mindful balance. When you are weeding, try to stand on one foot for just 5 seconds while reaching for a weed. When you transition from standing to kneeling, do it slowly and deliberately. That action of transitioning, that mindful change of elevation, is where you train your body to stay independent. It maintains the range of motion you need to live fully. It is a silent declaration of your independence. Micro movement 3, chair-assisted Tai Chi. You can sit in a sturdy chair and practice the slow, sweeping movements of Tai Chi. The ancient practice is celebrated for its ability to drastically improve balance in older adults. Forget the complex forms. Just focus on slowly extending your arms and legs. Imagine pushing water with your hand. The slow, deliberate motions teach your inner ear and your core muscles how to stabilize. Doing this for just 8 minutes a day may help support your nervous system and dramatically lower your risk of losing independence due to injury. This is the gift you give your children when you commit to micromovement. You are not eliminating worry, but you are drastically reducing the probability of an emergency. You are proving every single day that you are actively maintaining your freedom, and that physical freedom is the core of independence. Habit 3, the gratitude and reflection habit. The third great fear is the emotional chaos, the worry about things you can't control, the anxiety that bubbles up when you feel retirement is closing doors instead of opening them. This leads to emotional fatigue, and emotional fatigue is often misread as depression. It is the inner mental burden. The solution here is habit number 3, the gratitude and reflection habit. This habit is about building mental self-reliance. It is training your mind to focus on what you have, not what you have lost. This practice is often referred to as mindfulness or spiritual grounding. For many of us, this aligns directly with our faith and our spiritual life. The power of reflection, of prayer, or simply deep, quiet gratitude is measurable. Clinical psychology research has shown that consistent gratitude practices significantly reduce the stress hormone cortisol. Lower cortisol means better sleep, a calmer nervous system, and a mind that is less prone to anxiety. It's biological peace. This habit centers around a simple physical tool, a small notebook, a prayer journal, or even a digital note-taking app. It's about intentional, daily reflection, gratitude and reflection. 1. The 3 good things rule. Every evening, before you go to sleep, write down 3 things that happened that day that you are genuinely grateful for. They do not have to be monumental events. Maybe the sun was shining when you took your walk. Maybe a neighbor offered you a kind word. Maybe your coffee was perfect. When you physically write these down, you force your brain to stop scanning for threats or worries and start scanning for blessings. You are literally rewiring your perspective. This is the self-reliance of the soul. You are cultivating your own inner strength, which means you are not constantly leaning on your children for emotional reassurance. You become the calm in the family storm. Gratitude and reflection, 2. The acceptance of change. Use your journal to reflect on things you cannot change. The past is fixed, the future is uncertain. Many seniors struggle with the loss of their former identity, the CEO, the teacher, the nurse. In your reflection time, practice accepting the new, wise identity you possess. Acknowledge the wisdom you carry now. This acceptance is freedom. It stops the cycle of wishing things were different, which is the root of so much emotional burden. By building this mental firewall, you ensure your children receive your joy, your stability, your wisdom. They do not receive your anxiety or your constant need for validation. This emotional self-sufficiency is perhaps the kindest gift you can give them. It means you are independent in spirit. The thesis is simple. Independence is a choice, not a circumstance. It's not about how much money you have. It's about whether you choose to fight for your purpose, your physical function, and your peace. The small habits are the biggest difference makers. They are your daily declaration that you are fighting for your quality of life. Conclusion. We started this conversation by facing a real fear, the fear of becoming a burden. But we have discovered that the difference between dependence and independence is not complex. It is built into 3 simple habits. Habit 1, purposeful connection. Be an asset, not an expense. Find a place to give your unique wisdom. Volunteer, mentor. Stop socializing passively and start contributing actively. Habit 2, micro movement routines. Fight for your physical freedom. 10 counter squats a day, mindful gardening, or 8 minutes of seated Tai Chi. Prove to your body that you will not fall. Habit 3, the gratitude and reflection. Habit. Build your inner peace. Reduce cortisol. Stop depending on your family for emotional stability. Find your blessings and write them down. These 3 habits, when practiced daily, create a wall of resilience around you and your loved ones. They make you strong, essential, and free. They are your new retirement job. I want you to leave me a comment today. It will be our resonance point. What is the one thing, physical, financial, or emotional, that you refuse to let become a burden in your life? Is it the ability to still drive? Is it the goal to never need a walker? Is it the promise to yourself to always stay joyful? Share your commitment below. I read every one of them. Now, we have focused a lot on what you do with your time. But independence also starts with what you put into your body. The fuel you choose can significantly impact your muscle strength and energy levels, directly combating that fear of physical decline. If you are looking for simple, food-based ways to maintain your strength and fight muscle loss without relying on confusing supplements, then you need to watch my next video. It's titled, Forget Supplements. 3 Simple Foods Japanese elders eat to stay active and independent. You can click here to watch it right now. Thank you for being here today. Remember, you are loved, you are valuable, and you are not a burden. You are free to live your most joyful, independent life. Disclaimer. This content is for informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with your physician or another qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or medical routine.